What's up, everybody? Welcome to PS I Love You XOXO episode 50. We plan nothing special for it at all. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the Pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, Greg. How are you?
I'm great, too. You got your little chamois all set to go?
Yeah, this one's got...
It's got the texture to the chamois here.
This works really nicely.
You like that? Is it getting more? Is it getting more of the dirt off your glasses?
I think so.
How long have you had these glasses?
A while, a few years probably.
I just bought these glasses.
Yeah.
I bought them right before Kinda Funny Live.
Yeah.
Got them. Prescription too strong. Had to give them back. Had to get them dialed down. Then I've just been moving so much I haven't been able to get back over there. I noticed though over in the Kinda Funny Live poster we put up in the office, you still had these. It had the same little thing on it. The little side guy, the little silver side guy.
Right.
You've had those a while.
These are actually 2 glasses ago, and then I went.
You went with those blue. When
they're around. I was wearing them both, and then I don't know. I don't care anymore. So,
you just let the blue steel go live their life wherever they end up.
Yeah, exactly.
They end
So it's these are the ones I've settled on, and we'll see what happens in the future. Yeah.
You thinking about shaking it up sometime?
No.
I've always wanted red frames, but I just don't think I can pull them off.
Don't do that.
No, can't do that. You don't think I could pull it off?
Big frames and colored frames, unless they're like very earthy colors, you can't have big frames. You can't have colored frames unless you really want to be like a
Harry Carey
huge
did big
fucking
frames.
Dork or whatever.
Harry Carey wasn't a huge fucking dork. He was a Chicago landmark
if
treasure.
your lenses are like dominating your face, right? I don't know that you not necessarily want to go down that road.
Okay. I appreciate your glasses advice.
Thanks.
I like your game advice too. Colin, what have you been playing lately?
I don't even know. Oh, I beat Headlander.
Oh, thoughts?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, really nice Metroidvania. What I'm impressed about with that particular game is the design of it, in the sense that there's a million different ways that game could break. And they must have been very deliberate in designing it in order to not let it break. Yeah, because the idea of the game is that you're a disembodied head that can attach itself to like all sorts of machines, basically, and the machines all have like these colors that allow you to open doors and close doors and stuff. And it must have been a very complicated game to design.
Sure.
Because I was shocked that I never broke it.
Mm-hmm. You thought you get into a room you couldn't get out
exactly,
of.
And there was always a way to like advance or go. So Double Fine's not a dumb studio. I don't make games, but I feel like that was a probably very complicated game from that perspective, to be like, wow, like we really do have to think of every little angle here. I got like 80% of the trophies. Maybe I'll go back and platinum it. I don't know, but it's one of my favorite games of the year. I think. I think it's really satisfying. 70s kind of, even 60s, 70s kind of sci-fi aesthetic. It's silly.
There's a Let's Play up on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. We'll annotate to it at the end of this episode.
Very satisfying game.
I also saw you playing the Inside out there.
Played about half of Inside.
Thoughts?
I like it. I think that it's the cool thing from the design aesthetic of this particular game, and just the design philosophy of a particular game like this, is Playdead took a really long time making it. So, Limbo was a huge success, a financial success. They made a lot of money. They're a small team. So they were able to really kind of like take their time and be very deliberate. And this game's apparently only 3 hours long or so. But what's really cool about it, when you run into, I don't know exactly how to explain this, but when you run into something in a game and you're like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen, or the designer didn't anticipate that you were going to do this, or, something's not natural or not right. Like every little thing in this particular game seems to be there for a reason. Like everything, the way the boy interacts with a wall, or
for me, it was the first time you run from the dog and it looks like it's about to get you, but it's just timed out enough where you're going to get away no matter what. But we're going to introduce the mechanic that these dogs can kill you.
I think it's a pretty interesting game from that perspective. Now I've not gone more than I think halfway through it or whatever, and I'm starting to. I'm at a puzzle now that's an elevator that goes up and down 3 shafts, and
I know exactly.
I'm not very good at puzzle games, so
yeah.
But I think that's my one big takeaway, is that the game. First of all, I described it on Twitter as a game that feels like an episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I can see that totally.
And which is cool. I love the Twilight Zone. I'm a huge Rod Serling fan, and also, again, just like those little things, like everything seems to be there for a very specific reason. It doesn't just exist. And I think you can only do that when you really make a smaller game, I think, over an extended period of time. And they probably played and refined because they had the luxury to do that. What I'm most curious about is how the game's doing, and if they'll kind of replicate the success of Limbo, because I kind of think Limbo is I think this game so far is better than Limbo, but
mechanically for sure.
but I also feel like Limbo is lightning in a bottle, and I don't know that they're necessarily going to be able to replicate that kind
You
of success.
figure when Limbo comes out, right, and I'm talking about its initial release on Xbox and PC, not PlayStation, which came later, comes out, and it is one of the first games I think where we were first had to check what we thought of downloadable games, right? Because for years leading up to that, right, it was always it's really good for a downloadable game. Oh, what's game of the year? It would be this, but for a downloadable game, you should think about these games.
Right.
And Limbo came around, and it was we're here, we're a real game. You're gonna get crazy about this.
Yeah, I think it was like 2009, 2010 was when we really started to. Shadow Complex and certain other games, or Flower, where we really started to like look at those kinds of games differently. So that was good. And then I downloaded Overcooked, and I've been playing that.
Oh, fuck Overcooked, so good.
So the thing about
tearing your relationship apart, though,
the
right?
thing about Overcooked is that it's like really bad to play with. Like Erin and I can't play it together. And it's my fault. I get really mad at her. Like she's still new to games, and so she's learning how to play, and I'm getting really frustrated. Because it's like you have to really rely on each other.
Oh yeah, Overcooked's great. I put it on my list, right? One of my favorite games for PlayStation. The co-op and how quickly it does become like. What you'd put in a commercial. If you're going to shoot like the cheesy 90s commercial where the kids are playing like, I'm chopping the tomatoes, what do you do? What? You actually talk that way when you play Overcooked because it's so good.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm curious about how it plays by yourself and all that. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, me neither actually.
So I've been playing that, and then I've been kind of dwelling on the idea. Like I have a few codes to play. I messed around with Deus Ex very briefly. I played it for. It is literally another one of those things like it happened with Hyper Light Drifter where I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Like 15 minutes in, I'm like, I don't think so.
If it doesn't hit you,
and I just deleted it off my console.
Well,
like I don't. Well, just because I'm just like
salt the earth.
So like what I'm playing around with now is like I for some reason I have Final Fantasy VII on the mind in like a major way. Also, Pierce Solar is a game that I've been wanting to get back to. So I kind of just am in that RPG mood. And then we'll get into it later. I mean, there's some games that are coming out that are interesting, but I kind of just feel like I want to play Final Fantasy VII. I feel like I'm in a weird headspace, and I feel like I want to play something I'm familiar with,
Comfort
but that
food,
I haven't. But that's been a long time. I mean,
I
haven't really played Final Fantasy VII since high school. So
sure.
So that was a long time ago. So yeah, I mean, I think that basically covers it. Yeah.
Colin, I can't stop playing No Man's Sky.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. No, I'm having such a good time with it. I've been traveling a lot, so I've been popping back and forth. I'd had the big Saturday a couple weeks ago where I sat down and played for like 9 hours or 8 hours, and then yesterday was one of those two, where a big Sunday, as I call them. Sat down and played it on Saturday as well, and just like to the point now, I am doing the thing where I'm sitting there playing playing Death, Sex, and Money, the podcast, and just chilling out, going out there, mining my emerald, getting all my inventory slots. Totally simple gameplay loop. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm continuing to play it, but it is comfort, right? That's the big thing of like, well, PAX is this week. I'm getting ready to go on that. I don't feel like starting into Deus Ex just to have to leave that and get into it, but I'm already, 20 some hours now into No Man's Sky. I know the world. I know what I'm building. I like the idea of just building it. I named a planet Castro for our friend Eric Castro. I'm going through naming all these things, seeing all these things, trying to find every animal on there, not leaving it yet.
I'm glad you like it. The game is, I've never seen a game fall from grace quite like this.
Right.
And it seems like you are in the minority of vocal people. Now, I think you're
people's
probably
the big part.
I think you're probably in the majority of people that are enjoying the game, but people really fucking hate that game.
Steam's giving out their refunds now. There's all these different things going on. But that was the thing I noticed too, is that when I'd been gone for so long, that the Twitter sentiment had switched over to fuck No Man's Sky. And I tweeted about it last night, how much I'm enjoying it. And I had a whole bunch of kids hit me. I'm like, oh, it's cool to see somebody else I'm enjoying it as well. And I know when it first came out, McCaffrey was tweeting about how much he was liking. Susan was tweeting about how much she was liking it. Like, there are definitely hardcore people out there that are playing it, but it has been interesting to see how quickly everybody was like, wait a second, we got screwed. But I think it goes back to like we talked about with expectations.
Yeah,
Kevin and I, Big Dog Kev, knew what we were getting into.
Yeah, but see, this is where I think I talked about it a bit on the exclusive Gamescast with Danny O'Dwyer, where I'm like, I kind of feel bad for Hello Games and Sean Murray in a way. But then you see videos, and Jim Sterling did a really nice Jimquisition about just like, all right, so like what's going on with this game? Where does the ball lay and stuff like that? And he was like, yeah, basically like, and I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, basically like Sean Murray's kind of full of shit, and like
he did talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and like,
that was going to happen that didn't happen.
He's super cagey and super fucking weird. Like when you watch those interviews, like they just straight seem to have lied about some things, or at least remove things along the way. But even late in the game, like kind of talking about what's in the game and stuff like that. I think that. I've always thought that everyone was complicit, including the gamer, including the media. But I actually think Hello Games' particular complicity is at a higher level than I had originally given it credit.
I want to bring in a question here from kindoffunny.com/PSQ, where you can post your questions, just like Killer 9mm did. whose real name is Luca. So we're going to call him Luca because I don't want to advertise guns like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We get enough of that here. Hi, Greg and Colin. Greetings from Croatia. I have a question about No Man's Sky, specifically about the way Sean Murray and Hello Games handled the whole backlash of missing features after the game was released. I was impressed by the concept of No Man's Sky when it was first revealed. I was looking forward to playing it, but was in no way hyped. However, after I got the game, I am really enjoying it, but it feels a little bit hollow. Like, there is no real purpose in the game. At first, I didn't understand why everybody was complaining so much about the game, calling Sean a liar. But after seeing the Sean Murray interviews and trailers, one thing was clear. The game was falsely advertised. Developers were showing and talking about dozens of features which were ultimately not in the game. Hell, even on the Colbert Show late last year, Murray talked about the ability to see other players, sand planets, giant worms, portals, huge space battles, and numerous other features that aren't really in the game. Murray has been quiet about everything for almost 2 weeks, and boy, he has some explaining to do. I understand they are a really small team, but the features missing were talked about and showed since revealing the game until a few months ago. He even addressed old trailers in a post on the official site a day before releasing, saying how happy he is that Hello Games could deliver content shown in the trailers and even improve on it. This is not some small feature absence like fingerless gloves shown in trailers for GTA 4, and then missing from the final game. When people lost their minds, like it's a game-changing feature. Considering everything, full retail price is very questionable for No Man's Sky. My questions are: how do you think Murray and Hello Games should approach the situation, and should the game even be $60? Stay awesome. Luca, congratulations on the 50 episode milestone. Here's to 50 more. A lot in there. But I think he speaks to something you were bringing up in the fact that, sure, last year, Sean's on Colbert, Sand Planets, multiplayer, all this other stuff, right? There was no messaging. If we would have gotten closer to release and they would have come out and been like, a lot of stuff isn't there. This got cut. I know I talked about that. We're still planning on it. That's where I think you earn that goodwill. When you don't, and you just released the game and it isn't what people were expecting. Granted, I think we knew a long, long time ago this game was not going to be what people were expecting it to be or what people were talking about it. That's when you get into more issues, I think. Dangerous territory.
The one thing is that I said that not only was it not what it was going to be, I said it was going to disappoint massive amounts of people, and so it has. I think that what should they do? I mean, honestly, I think that they should apologize.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's important to take responsibility for the things you've done wrong, or at least misled people. And I can see like, I would give them the benefit of the doubt until like it takes just the internet sleuths just a little while to figure out what actually was said and what was actually done. And it seems like a lot of things are missing. And so I feel like the price point of the game doesn't bother me. $60 for the game doesn't seem to be actually that inappropriate, in my opinion. But
I agree.
But the bigger thing is what's missing, and do people get what they thought they were going to get? This also just brings me back to like, why do, and I guess it's easy for me to say from a place of some sort of economic privilege where I get a lot of these games. Well, we get our games for free and we get them early. But if I were back on the consumer side, it's like, why would you not just wait? Like, this really could have been alleviated. A lot of people's problems with this game could have been alleviated if you just waited a week.
Sure.
And realized that it wasn't what it's meant to be. What I'm most curious about is, how is the game selling? Is Sony happy with it? It just seems like everyone's kind of quiet. And there are
I want to see the refund statistics. That's what I'm very interested in.
There's a lot of mixed signaling about like people getting getting PSN or Sony to give money back. That Steam was making exceptions, but then that like, because you can get your money back, I think, if you play the game for less than 2 hours. But excuse me. But I think that that's not even necessarily true. So I don't know. What I'm most curious about, is the stickiness of the game and who's playing it and how people are enjoying it, and are they like overall happy? Is this just a lot of noise? Because that's unclear to me. I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is, for instance, one of the things I think Jim Sterling highlighted was, the first day or the first couple days, these two guys on a stream were on the same planet. That found each other and they couldn't see each other. There was no evidence that the other person was there, even though they said that, Sean Murray, I think, had said something like, it's going to be rare, but it should be possible, like something, not verbatim. And then No Man's Sky account tweets out like, we didn't expect this to happen on the first day. And I'm like, it fucking didn't happen on the first day. It didn't happen at all. Like, they didn't see each other. They're not there.
Yeah.
And then there was all this evidence or all this talk, but then it kind of vacillates about like people's shit just getting erased, going back to the same planet and finding that it's just the names are gone.
Renamed. Yeah.
But then some people are like, well, I restarted it a few times and then the names came back and stuff. But either way, I'm like, this is a mess. What a mess. What a fucking mess of a game.
I mean, for me, he's Lucas saying, what should Sean and Hello Games in particular do to approach the situation? For me, I agree that I think they need to come out and be honest, right? We've seen your complaints. We don't necessarily agree. This is what we meant. Here's where this got out of control, but we're sorry that we're apologizing for this. But then stress the fact that, and I think this is wishful thinking on my part, but I do think, based on the conversation Kevin and I had with Sean at E3, is the fact that we understand we didn't meet so many of your expectations this week or this year, this launch. As patches come, we're going to get to what you wanted or what we've always envisioned for the game. Because I stand by the fact that I do think that 6 months from now, a year from now, 18 months from now, this game looks decidedly different. And do you ever get to having you and I run into each other on the same planet? I don't know. But I mean, I do think you'll get to new. Here's your sand planet. Here's this thing. Here's that.
I think by that point, it's too late. I think that this game is going to be a cautionary tale. See, the unfortunate thing about this, and I think we've discussed this in the past, is the only unfortunate thing about this is that this is going to have some sort of chilling effect on boldness of games, because people are going to be like, well, I hope that people don't walk away from this thinking. Let me back up. It's like what I say about Donald Trump sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like, Donald Trump's an asshole and an idiot, right? Yeah. But his brashness and his differences and his stance from the outside of the political spectrum isn't what's wrong with him. It's that he doesn't know how to run a campaign, doesn't know how to be a decent human being. I hope that people don't take away from that lesson in 2020 and 2024 that you can't run from outside the apparatus, that you can't be brash, that you can't say what's on your mind, right? And it's a similar kind of comparison with No Man's Sky, where I hope the takeaway isn't like, don't do things differently and don't do things boldly and don't do things ambitiously. I hope that's not the takeaway. The takeaway should be
be honest.
Be honest and don't overpromise. And from a marketing perspective, there's much to be learned about the way this game was showcased too. So Sony's silence is almost as staggering as Hello Games' general silence as of this point. Because if I were them, I would write. I didn't put it in the news, but Respawn had written this huge blog post about Titanfall 2's beta and how a lot of people fucking hated it and thought it was terrible. And they addressed this is what happened and this is what's changed and this is what happens and this is what we're gonna fix and all those kinds of things. And then Sean Murray and those guys should just take the time, make a blog post that's several thousand words. Can be a missive for all I care, and just be like, here's your complaints and this is why this is missing. Give us, I think, a glimpse behind the curtain of being like, we did have multiplayer functioning, for instance. I don't know if that's true.
Sure.
But we did have this, or the space battle thing that everyone points out where you can take part or choose sides or ignore it or whatever. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, well,
all I do is get chased by sentinels and pirates when I try to go drop off my stuff.
And here's the thing everyone talks about with the brontosaurus looking creatures. Well, this is why, you just have to explain. I think that through the course of game development, things start, we often hear from game developers that things start broadly and then they get narrowed down. And that's always why sequels are fun for them oftentimes because then they're like, oh, we can actually do what we initially wanted to do.
Yeah. What is that? I forget when we talk to our developer friends, they're always like 20% of what you want doesn't happen in your game.
Right. So they could, but I also think that the clock is ticking.
It's probably already come and gone, right? Because that's the point is for as much bile and hate as there is in the game's fan enthusiast ecosystem we live in, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, right? Gamers, for the most part, are an understanding bunch. If you would have come out a week, 2 weeks before this and been like, hey, we're releasing No Man's Sky, and we've seen that the expectations have run away. And even if you don't want to say that, just be like, here's the E3 demo we showed. Here's what's not happening in that. It sucks to have hat in hand and eat some crow, but it actually wins you the goodwill in the end because people are like, okay, now I know what I'm getting into. Thank you. Make the game. Keep working on the patches. We'll be there for you. But when you go silent, I mean, honestly, it's kind of like us, right? With Kind of Funny. When we promise something and then it blows up in our face, the animated series takes too long. If we don't say anything, people get understandably angry about it. When we post, all right, here's why it's not happening. Here's how we're trying to fix it. We're going to be back on track eventually, but bear with us. Everybody's like, no problem. Thanks for the update. That's all it is. Just like love and sex stuff, communication. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is PS I Love You XOXO. It is kindafunny.com's PlayStation podcast. It is the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet, and it posts every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, come rain or shine. If you like all that, go to kindafunny.com, subscribe to all the YouTube channels. There's only 2 of them. Listen to all the other podcasts. There are a bunch of them. And hang out with us at PAX. That's right. A whole bunch of stuff is happening for us at PAX. Go to kindafunny.com/PAX. You can find out what we're doing, where we're doing it. There's panels. There's a party. You can win copies of Deus Ex. It's gonna be fun. Come hang out. Colin.
Yes.
Let's begin the show with what is and forever will be Roper's Report. Time for some singular possessive news.
There are 8 items on the list.
A baker's dozen.
Number 1, PlayStation Now is officially coming to PC. This major announcement comes by way of the PlayStation blog, which confirms that PlayStation 3 games will be playable on your computer. This is a massive move by Sony, which is basically allowing a vast slice of their exclusive library to be playable on a non-PlayStation device for the first time ever. Uncharted, God of War, Ratchet & Clank, The Last of Us, Journey, and some 400 other games will be available to PC players upon PlayStation Now's launch.
Cool, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, I do too. They're putting out the little adapter for your DualShock 4, so you can get on there, you can play your stuff. But it gets exciting, yeah, because you have PlayStation Now, you have your ability of a remote play now from your PC. You don't have to take the PlayStation 4 with you. You can take whatever. And also, if you are one of these PC gamers who never had a PlayStation 3, shame on you. But now you can finally go try all this stuff. Get interested in the PlayStation ecosystem. Get ready for that Neo, that Trinity.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's a cool little thing. I think it puts the PlayStation Now / Gaikai acquisition in a little more perspective.
Do you think this makes a big enough impact to make it matter?
I think it's going to be very big.
Okay.
Comparatively, I don't know if it's going to be big generally, but I think that it's going to have much more resonance on PC than it does on
Sure,
PS3.
I can see that. I think honestly, when they open it up and you can play PlayStation 4 games, of some kind off of the PlayStation Now library on a PC, that's when things really get.
Yeah,
nutty.
I wonder if they'll always be a generation behind.
Yeah.
To protect their hardware. Oh my god, I apologize. Number 2. As you said, in conjunction with the PlayStation Now on PC announcement, Sony will be releasing a DualShock 4 USB wireless adapter for $24.99 that will allow wireless connection of your DualShock 4 to your PC for use with PlayStation Now and presumably other games. Everything on it will work, including Rumble, the touchpad, and the gyros. So that's pretty cool.
No more drivers. Don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, we'll see.
That was always my thing when I tried to use a DualShock on the PlayStation 4, on the PC.
Number 3, as you know by now, the PlayStation 4 Slim model has leaked and it is in the wild. What's now coming out about the device is that it apparently comes with a new, slightly redesigned DualShock 4 controller. The major redesign has to do with the light bar, which now shines through the side of the controller facing you through a small see-through sliver in the plastic. Other anecdotal information about the controller has been circulating, such as better battery life, but none of that has been confirmed.
I hope it's got better battery
We'll likely
life.
know more at the September 7th PlayStation meeting.
And remember,
in New York City.
We'll be streaming a pre-show, post-show, and then reactions during show right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Which isn't right here, but you understand. Just go to kindoffunny.com.
Number 4, you've waited long enough. Sony has finally launched 2-step verification for PlayStation Network accounts, and will work across PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation Vita. 2-step verification, should you want to utilize it for obvious security reasons, can be activated on the official PlayStation website.
Insane it's taken this long.
Yep.
Welcome. I enjoy it. I've been using it, but holy crap. Still, it's finally here, I guess. Good. That's great. I'm glad it's here.
It's taken a few moments.
Yeah.
Let's see. Number 5. Details about Resident Evil 7 have been leaked by the ESRB. If you don't want to hear any spoilers, you'll want to turn this off for a moment. Here's the exact verbatim description of the game from the ESRB as related by Gamatsu. Quote, "This is a survival horror game in which players assume the role of Ethan, a man searching for his missing wife in a derelict mansion. From a first-person perspective, players explore the environment and use pistols, shotguns, flamethrowers, explosives, and chainsaws to kill mutant creatures. Combat is accompanied by realistic gunfire, screams of pain, and exaggerated blood splatter effects. As players progress through the story, cutscenes can depict instances of gore and intense acts of violence. A character's arm dismembered by a chainsaw, a man's leg taken off at the knee with a shovel, a character impaled through the face with a shovel. Some areas also depict mutilated corpses with exposed organs / viscera. The words fuck and shit are heard in the dialogue," end quote.
God damn.
So that's everything we know about Resident Evil 7 right now.
Colin, your boy Evan wrote into kindoffunny.com/PSQ just like you can and says, "Hey, Colin and Greg.
Hello.
I was recently at PlayStation's Road to Greatness event, and I got to try out PlayStation VR for the first time. I decided to try out Resident Evil 7 because that was the demo I was most interested in. Unfortunately, when my time was up, I was left with a few concerns about PlayStation VR and RE7. For example, every time I would hit the right stick, it would jerk my viewpoint in that direction. This was the only way to turn around, and it just felt weird and unnatural to me. It didn't make me sick or anything, but I was just wondering, is this how most VR games are going to work, or is it just this particular demo? The game also seemed pretty blurry to me, and I left the demo feeling a bit underwhelmed. Have you guys had similar experiences using VR / RE7? Would love your thoughts. P.S. It was awesome seeing you guys in Denver. Come back anytime, Evan."
I feel like we've discussed this in the past, haven't we? The effects of VR on...
What, control schemes?
Yeah, like that.
I mean, honestly, if you've listened to one of these shows, you listen to all of them, I think.
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, here, I think for him, is this going to be the way all VR games play? No, of course not. I think you're going to find that as we get into PlayStation VR and VR life cycle in general, people are going to try a bunch of shit and figure it out as they go. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's how RE7 ships and you don't like it and people complain about it, that they then patch it and put it out. We're in a new territory here for PlayStation VR. I should say for gaming in general. We have to learn how to walk again. Developers have to learn how to talk to us again. And as they do that, we're going to have some learning curves like this. I have noticed, of course, that yes, games are blurry. PlayStation VR, the screen isn't crystal clear. Still looks great, I think. I'm still going to play games on it every so often.
I think a lot of the unfortunate thing about the blurriness and all that kind of stuff and the nature of the fidelity of the device and how you see it really has to do with how you're wearing it as well. And it sucks because the person putting it on you at these events like can't quite know that
What
it's
you're
right.
seeing.
And so you might think it's right. It's
when you get home and fuck around
massively
with it.
complicated.
When you get home and fuck around with it and you move it around and you tighten it up, you'll get better experiences when it's yours and you're not afraid.
As far as controls and stuff, I think that I agree. There's nothing intuitive right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, we had to learn how to use dual analog sticks, for instance. We used to aim in shooters by clicking sticks. Now we aim with the shoulders. Like no one would make you click a stick to aim anymore, right? Like what seemed natural a few years ago is no longer natural as things evolve. So I think that from that perspective, I think that it's entirely possible that like you said, things evolve and there might be multiple schemes and stuff. I know that Riggs is another game that's a little confusing.
Well, the thing with Riggs I always talk about is the first PlayStation VR demo that I put on and got car sick in when I first did it because I'm moving my head to aim, but I'm still using the sticks to move the top of the body. And it was one of those where I complained about it after I was done playing and they're like, oh, well, that's just default is how you were playing. We have a thing like how you're talking about it. It's like, oh, we're going to have to jump in and see what works, how we like it, and go on it. Remember, your tip of the sword. If you're buying PlayStation VR, October, teens, your tip of the sword. You're getting in there. You're the guinea pigs to let people like Kevin over there get the units they want one day in the games they want, or maybe Kevin's kids.
Number 6, Dark Souls 3's DLC has leaked, but it has now been confirmed. Ashes of Ariandel will launch on October 25th on PlayStation 4 as well as on Xbox One and PC and will cost $14.99. Ariandel, the location noted in the title, is a frozen land in which the DLC takes place in and will contain new enemies, weapons, armor, magic, and more. And will also add new features to Dark Souls 3's multiplayer. Another DLC pack is coming after Ashes of Ariandel, though it's unclear what it's called and what the nature of it will be. Number 7, Battlefield 1, which launches this fall, will not surprisingly have a season pass. The premium pass, as it will be called, will cost $50 and will contain 4 expansions. The first one, due out March of 2017, is called They Shall Not Pass, which allows players to play as the French army. A subsequent expansion will give players control of the Russian army. Combined, the 4 packs will contain 16 multiplayer maps, new modes, classes, vehicles, weapons, and more. And finally, number 8 is the wrap-up. Shmup Dogos comes to PlayStation 4 on September 6th. Card battling RPG Quarare Magic Library comes to PS4 on September 6th and is free to play. Adventure game Jazzpunk comes to PS4 on September 20th. Don't Starve Together comes to PS4 on September 13th. And finally, Dear Esther is headed to PS4 on September 20th and will cost a mere $10 at launch.
A steal.
And that is it for the news.
Colin, you know I'm excited for that Shmup Domos. Sounds right up my alley. But that's so far away. If I wanted to know what came to the digital and retail mom and grop shops, where would I go?
The official list of the upcoming PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and sometimes PSP software by the Kind of Funny co-founders. Assault Suit Lanos comes to PS4 retail, so this is already out digitally. So as a classic reawakens, Assault Suit Lanos is back and in high definition. Get ready for all-out robotic war as the fan-favorite Genesis classic is reworked with all new HD visuals for the ultimate alien blasting experience. Assetto Corsa comes to PS4 digital and retail. This is not just a game, this is sim racing. In collaboration with the most prestigious car manufacturers, Assetto Corsa ups the simulation stakes with a focus on pure driving realism, with pinpoint accuracy across every aspect of the game, includes legendary laser scan tracks and official data augmented car physics. Attack on Titan comes to PS4, PS3, and Vita, digital and retail. It says the international hit anime Attack on Titan is coming to PlayStation. Battle is joined. What the hell does that mean? Between the man-eating Titans and Eren and his companions. Experience the illusion of being in the anime and controlling the flow of the story. Prepare for battle.
You stoked for that one?
We have it. I don't really...
It's just been sitting on the kitchen table.
I don't know anything about it. I mean, I've been meaning to watch Attack on Titan. It's supposed to be pretty good. Bears Can't Drift comes to PS4 digital. Put your paw to the floor and power slide between the pines as you face off against up to 3 friends in multiplayer split screen. Includes 12 tracks spread across 3 worlds and 3 game modes with up to 11 computer-controlled opponents. Bears Can't Drift is retro karting action with a modern look and feel.
Tim and I have played that on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We had a good time with it. I'm looking forward to the final release. I like kart racers, though. Sue me.
Binaries comes to PS4 digital. Test your skills and reflexes as you simultaneously guide 2 lovable balls through more than 100 controller smashingly tough platform challenges. Control both at
guiding balls around.
Me too. I do. Control both at exactly the same time as you try to avoid the death and danger that awaits their every move, and there are jokes. Claire Extended Cut, which is a game I'm pretty interested in, comes to PS4 and Vita Digital cross-buy. While visiting her sick mother, Claire takes a wrong turn and stumbles into a dark passage of echoing doors and abandoned rooms. Lost and attempting to find her way back, Claire encounters an overprotective dog and a few denizens who are seemingly uninterested in Claire's plight. Did they block the doors and windows to keep something out, or is a malevolent force stopping Claire from leaving?
I'm interested in this one too. How much do you know about it? Is that it? Little summary there? Because I've heard just good buzz. Good buzz.
That's all. This next one sounds interesting to me too.
Okay.
It's called The Final Station. It comes to PS4 Digital. It says, travel by train through a dying world. Look after your passengers, keep your train operational, and make sure you can always reach the next station. Make your way through swarms of infected at each stop. Explore mysterious and abandoned stations looking for supplies and survivors.
That does sound good.
Sounds
I like trains. You like trains.
I'm a huge
I call you
train
Mr.
fan.
Conductor.
Four-Sided Fantasy comes to PS4 Digital. Four-Sided Fantasy is a game about pushing the limits of your screen where you can wrap from one side of the screen to the other. Discover a strange world where a man and a woman journey through 4 seasons in a year, constantly separated by the boundaries of the screen.
That doesn't sound like fun. I want them to be together. Don't make them be separated. God
Eater 2 Rage Burst comes to PS4 and Vita Digital. PS4 has retail, but not Vita. 3 years after the events of God Eater Resurrection, a mysterious red rain sparks a fatal pandemic called the Black Plague. With no established cure, this scourge has a mortality rate of 100% once infected. Take control of the newest recruit as you master incredible weaponry, challenge enormous monsters, and cooperate with an iconic cast of characters fighting for humanity in God Eater 2 Rage Burst.
You gonna play this one? It's a Vita game. I feel like we have to.
I don't
we have to, though, Colin.
No, I don't care.
But Gio's relying on us.
Hatsune Miku Project Diva X comes to PS4 and Vita, digital and retail.
No, I'm playing this one, of course.
Hatsune Miku is back and bigger than ever in the upcoming rhythm game, Hatsune Miku Project Diva X. Project Diva X is driven forward through a narrative which centers on Miku and her friends undertaking various requests as they explore the 5 clouds that make up their world. Project Diva X has 30 songs and nearly 300 modules.
I've had to do that before, too.
Hue comes to PS4 Digital. Was supposed to come to Vita, but who knows where the fuck that one is. Hue is a vibrant, award-winning puzzle platformer where you alter the world by changing its background color. You explore a dangerous gray land, unearthing colored fragments on a journey to find your missing mother. As obstacles match the background, they disappear, creating new and exciting puzzles full of peril, mystery, and colors unseen.
Did you play this one? This was a GDC demo. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember. I think I did play it.
Tim liked it a lot, I know.
Live Lock comes to PS4 Digital.
Now, this is just how you can put your social security in this, right? And then it's just set. I've seen the thing. I've seen the guy advertising during Jerry Springer.
Live Lock is a cooperative top-down shooter where you play solo or with up to 2 allies to break the cycle of infinite war between machines. As one of the remaining capital intellects, your role is to unlock Eden and revive humanity. Nebulous comes to PS4 Digital. Nebulous is a physics-based puzzle game where you must help guide Commander Dash Johnson, a trapped astronaut through maze-like levels seeking the next wormhole to his eventual freedom.
Jet Brody's brother.
Arrange the pieces of the puzzle so that when he falls, gravity and momentum guide him safely and probably painfully to the end. One-Way Trip coming to PS4 Digital. Also supposed to come to Vita. I played it like 3 years ago on Vita.
Where the fuck is the Vita version? Come on.
After an attack on the water supply leaves much of the nation poisoned, you and your brother have 6 hours left to live, during which you will hallucinate as you die.
Oh, God.
How will you spend your final hours? Will you stay at home, rest, introspect, or throw caution to the wind and chase wild rumors of a cure? What happens next depends on your choices. The game sounds really cool.
It does.
But I don't know where the Vita version is.
Are you going to wait?
Yep.
That's my man. That's my man right there.
Resident Evil 4 comes to PS4 Digital and Retail. Resident Evil 4 arrives on PS4 in full HD with an increased frame rate. This revolutionary masterpiece represented a turning point for the series as it brought the gameplay to a third-person over-the-shoulder perspective for the first time. Featuring a thrilling storyline taking place after the destruction of Umbrella Corporation, Resident Evil 4 not only changed the course of Resident Evil, but influenced countless other titles as well. Rockets comes to PS4 Digital.
Good name.
Rockets is a game where you fly rockets that rockets at other rockets.
All right.
The ultimate rush of arcade arena action with the fluidity and amazing feel of soaring through space. Space Hulk. What, do you have something to say?
I was going to say the next one can't be worse than that, but here's Space Hulk.
Space Hulk comes to PS4 Digital. Space Hulk is a turn-based strategy game that recreates the classic claustrophobic board game experience for single-player and multiplayer. Space Hulk is set in the isolated corridors and tomb-like chambers of an ancient vessel lost in the graveyard of space. Players lead a small army of fearless space marine terminators to battle in a ferocious fight for survival against hordes of predatory alien gene stealers.
Like, wait, jeans like I'm wearing or gene like...
Gene like in your body.
Okay. Because I don't want my pants getting taken.
Starhammer The Vanguard Prophecy comes to PS4 Digital, and this is out on the 1st, so this is a Thursday release? Yes. Starhammer The Vanguard Prophecy is a game of 3D tactical space battles. Play your part in the Second Contact War in a campaign with a branching story and more than 60 missions. Or create your own scenarios in skirmish mode battles. Give your orders and watch the results in explosive real time.
Oh, I will. God, more? How big is this week?
Strike Vector X.
Take a sip of water, Colin. I'm so sorry.
No, PS4 Digital, no water. Strike Vector EX is a competitive first-person aerial combat game that satisfies every gamer's dream of waging dizzying dogfights with super-powered aircraft. Bursting with mech-inspired ships, Rage Quit's game brings a story-based single-player campaign to consoles, complete with characters, cutscenes, and deadly AI. Verdun comes to PS4 Digital. Verdun is the first multiplayer FPS set in a realistic First World War setting. The merciless trench warfare offers a unique battlefield experience, immersing you and your squad into intense battles of attack and defense. Verdun takes place on the Western Front between 1914 and 1918 in one of the bloodiest conflicts in world history. And finally,
Hey!
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition comes to PS4 Digital and retail. Become a monster slayer for hire and embark on an epic journey to track down the Child of Prophecy, a living weapon capable of untold destruction. The Complete Edition includes The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, all 16 DLC packs, and 2 expansion packs, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. And that is it for this week. And I assume pick of the week will be...
Are you disqualifying Resident Evil 4?
I was going to say Resident Evil 4.
I mean, I think that you have to put that in there if you've never played Resident Evil 4.
There is
I feel like it's old as shit.
There is a massive problem with it, though, in that it doesn't have a platinum
Oh,
trophy,
my God.
which is unbelievable.
Capcom, how can you keep
That's
fucking things
unbelievable
up?
to me. It's basically the same trophy list from the PS3 port.
If not that, I'm saying Claire or Bears Can't Drift.
Yeah, I mean, I've not played either of them, so I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Final
I don't
Station
know. I don't
sounds
know.
interesting.
I don't know
It's an
enough
interesting
about Claire. I don't know enough
Interesting
about Claire.
week.
A very interesting week, some would say, Colin. What are you always saying about there being too many games coming to the PSN?
There are way too many fucking games coming in.
Seems like this week's a pretty good example of it.
Yep.
Because I don't know if Rockets is going to fucking take off with so much competition.
Rockets exploding in the sky. Yeah, it's what can you say about that? Maybe Rockets is great.
I
have
hope
no
it is,
fucking
but it's
idea.
going to be overshadowed. I'm sure Strike
Terrible
Vector VX Tel.
Terrible name.
Let's do the topic of the show. Colin,
Yes.
this one is pulled from the Gamescast. Over at kindafunny.com/PSQ, the Q's for questions. Sal Chipapa wrote in and says, Guten Tag. Your recent Gamescast podcast about video game journalism made me think about its possible evolution. As you mentioned, most game journalism is reporting on general news like production, delays, system specs, etc. A few pieces go deeper, like the chronicle of a history of a company, like how Colin wrote extensively about Naughty Dog, or the quality of work Jason Schreier does. Even fewer pieces break stories that would make mainstream news, like the working conditions at Konami. I personally inhale the latter two types of news. Given that investigative journalism isn't a lucrative market and the think pieces people like Malcolm Gladwell do are rare enough in the non-game sector, do you genuinely see games journalism, quote unquote, growing up? Colin mentioned that if you want people to take the industry's journalism seriously, then the journalists and the consumers of it should take it seriously. The most interesting anecdotes, Guten Tag, this is in his first language, but he's killing it. I love where you're at, Raj. Good job. The most interesting anecdotes and stories I come across seem to be from ex-devs posting about personal experiences on their social media. Parentheses, harassment of women, sexism in software engineering, the grind game development has on personal lives. Why aren't more of these stories reported by journalists? Love what you do, Raj. P.S. Shame Child of Light / Valiant Hearts weren't higher on your top 10 lists, but solid lists all the same. Colin. I do think games journalism will grow up.
Yeah, I think it is growing up.
I think it's happening as we grow up. I think that our generation is the first generation to get to adulthood here, be able to be of the age to enter into this industry on the press side or on, or the video game industry, and go through and see and say that there's people who want more. We're the people who can be the Patrick Klepeks, the Jason Schreiers, and you can say that, no, we do want that. We don't just need the Entertainment Tonight style of video game journalism that in many ways would have been up at noon or a Comic-Con show where here's my demo and there's no hard-hitting questions. There can be these real conversations. There can be somebody's going to sit down with Sean Murray and ask all these tough questions about it. And how you get that, how you get more of it is the consumer, even right now, the child consumer growing up and wanting that. It is you who's watching or listening to this podcast demanding that and supporting the people who do it.
Yeah, I think that journalism's a market just like any other. So I think that, we've talked about this on other shows, is that if you want real journalism and you want those stories to be told, then you have to consume the stuff that is telling those stories. It's the same thing with games. If you want a game, buy the game, and then that will send the right message that more games like that should be produced. So I think it's a pretty easy kind of equation
Sure.
to master.
I don't think it'll ever be mainstream. I don't think you're ever going to have, how you have a newspaper in every market, all these massive publications like that are out there doing it. I think you will see it as pockets. You're Jason Schreier. You're going to, right now, I feel like we can only name a handful of people in the industry, our industry, doing this. It'll expand, but I don't think it's ever, I think the lion's share will continue to be your reviews, your live streams, this Let's Play thing over here.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood Reporter and Variety are not mainstream, like but they talk about movies and they break news and they're relevant to their audiences, and that they don't have to be the New York Times, the paper of record to have something to say or something that's important to a certain audience. So I think that it is growing up. I think that there's the weird thing about games journalism is that there's like some resistance from within, and I don't understand exactly why that is. And what I mean by that is there's like people out there that we've talked about it a million times, and I don't give a fuck what problems people have with a publication like Kotaku. That's your prerogative, but they are doing real journalism. If you don't understand that, then you really don't fucking know what journalism is. Like that's not a subjective kind of thing. Like what Schreier and what Klepek's now doing at Vice and all this kind of stuff, that's journalism. Whether or not you like the outlet, whether or not you have a grudge against them for other things, that's your prerogative. I don't care, but that is journalism. So there seems to be some resistance from within, and that's what I was saying. Like that with this like deference to the marketing plans and the PR plans of these games companies as if they're sacred.
Don't leak the Assassin's Creed thing. They haven't wanted to talk about that yet.
If anyone should give a fuck, who cares? Like the only people that should care about that is Ubisoft. If it's newsworthy, and it's we've talked about this on Game Over Reggie show actually too, where we were about Gawker, where they were all about and I'm talking about Gawker Prime, Kotaku owned by Gawker until recently, now they're owned by Univision, but where they were all about the journalism, if you can call it that, of personal assassination, of personal destruction. That's not what I support at all. So there's a big difference between, say, reporting on the affair of a Ubisoft executive that was never reported, but I'm saying like that's an example as opposed to saying like this game exists. That's journalism. So yeah, it's growing up. I think it will continue to grow up, but it will
as long as you demand it.
Exactly, it'll only grow up as long as there's a market for it. No one's going to write into a vacuum make videos into a vacuum that's boring, and what's the point? So, if you want, you'll get the gaming industry you ask for, and you'll get the gaming industry, frankly, you deserve. So, if you want a highbrow games industry, then demand one.
Yeah. And support the content creators you see that are doing what you want.
Yeah,
you've been great about us, but the people like Jim Sterling.
If you want fucking top 10 lists and like just nonsense, then you're gonna get top 10 lists and nonsense. If you want, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that if that's what you want. But if you want hard hitting stories, then reward your journalists, reward the people that actually put the legwork in to do these real It's not we wrote them. I've written them in the past. It's easy to write like top 10.
Yeah.
Like a fucking monkey can write that, It's hard to like go in and
get access,
like get
sources,
access and
get trust.
Exactly. Like that takes work, and like, that's the stuff that we should be rewarding with our clicks and with our eyes and with our money and all those kinds of things. It's not to say those top 10 things aren't fun. It's not to say the BuzzFeed stuff's not fun to read. It's just to say it's fucking mindless.
It's
obviously they've hit on something. They're huge,
right?
So I'm not saying that they haven't hit on anything. We're all guilty of consuming that content, but we can have it both ways.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the whole thing. One doesn't ignore the other. But if you only consume the junk food, then there's nothing healthy on the tree anymore. You need to go out there and support people who are doing what you want them to do. Colin.
Yes.
Tell me what's happening in Trophy Time today.
Let's see. So, first of all, just with Inside, I've been using, someone put up a pretty good guide on YouTube that I've been using to just get the Inside trophies, because I think you can beat the whole game without getting any trophies.
Because they're all the collectible things, right?
Yeah, like
I found a bunch
pull
of
out of the cylinder.
Yeah.
So you might want to look into that.
No platinum though, right?
No, it's maybe a dozen bronze or so, and then a gold. So there's that. Headlander, as I said, just from personal experience, is platinumable, but there's still no platinum, or there's no trophy guide still, and I don't have the patience to fucking be dealing with that right now.
I do think I'm gonna end up platinum in No Man's Sky.
Are you on your way?
Yeah, I popped one of the golds already for because it's just adds, it just builds and builds and builds. But I think as much as I enjoy it, I'll eventually one day there's gonna be a day where I'm like, all right, cool. I don't want to scan things on the planet. I don't want to run Emerald. Instead, I'll actually just look into this and go and do this. And I'm doing the whole Atlas thing. I'm bopping around with my warp drive.
All right, so let's take a look. There's a lot of trophy lists. Let's just take a look at them, as they are.
Grab some interesting ones.
I mean, there's a lot of them, right? Like, we haven't done this in a while. So, first we talk about Resident Evil 4. Again, the trophies, no platinum, but you can get gold for clearing the game in the highest difficulty, acquire all the bottle caps for silver, acquire all the costumes in the games of bronze, and then there's a bunch of story related ones if you're looking for that, and that seems to be identical to the PS3 one.
Okay.
One thing that I think is interesting is it seems like, and I don't know if this is true, but I think it is, that the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Game of the Year edition has a new set of trophies.
Oh, they just compiled everything into one.
It looks like it. I don't know if that's true, but I think it is. The reason I think so is because it popped again on the list, which is indicative that it's new. But then I'm looking at them. So like Lilac and Gooseberries is a trophy I have from that game. You have it too. It's one of the first trophies you get. It's 50%. And if you look at the list here on PSN profiles, like people are playing this game and it seems to be a new list. I tell you this just because, first of all, it's fucking super smart. Second of all, it's super smart. CD Projekt they really never cease to amaze me with some of these little things they're worrying about.
If I can object for one, or inject, I think, for 1 second, based on what you're saying, to clarify for a listener at home, it's a new list, but it's the same list.
It looks like it's the same list, but it looks like it is
you're getting it again.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
what I'm
Just
saying
making
is
sure.
that it is, and you should look into this before you take my word for it. But it appears to be that if you played the game and beaten the game already and you want to play it again, you'll get a whole other set of trophies.
Nice.
But I don't know. That's what it seems to suggest.
I'm surprised, and this is just a little thing that has nothing to do with trophies. I'm surprised with this Witcher Complete Collection, it's not coming with like the Gwent beta or something. Some kind of thing for that new Gwent game.
I think that might have been the intent, and then they pushed it back. But I don't know, because I think the beta is now in October. Rockets.
Here we go.
20 bronze, 12 silver, 4 gold, 1 platinum.
Woo woo.
I don't know. Achieve at least 10% accuracy in a match, 20% accuracy in a match, 50% accuracy in a match, 100% accuracy in a match. A lot of multiplayer ones, but it seems like they're maybe local co-op. I don't know. I don't know what this game's all about. I just can't anymore. Hugh.
I just can't anymore.
Hugh, 9 bronze, 2 silver.
2 seconds.
9 bronze, 2 silver, 1 gold. The trophies seem to be unlocking colors, so for the most part. So unlock yellow, pink, orange, purple, lime, blue, red, aqua. Change a color for the first time. Complete the game. Collect all the mysterious, fun, secret beakers. So that's like the collectibles, and then make 5,000 obstacles disappear. So there's that.
Thank goodness for that. I like colors.
Binaries is the game we just talked about. 7 bronze, 6 silver, 8
the
gold.
balls game.
1 platinum. Seems like you're getting ranks, dying a certain amount of times, beating the game under a certain amount of time, and then some obscure shit like putty in your hands. Be able to turn on those big puppy dog eyes is a trophy.
That's how you get the balls moving.
We are not alone. Find some strange rectangular friends. Wormhole research workshops. Look, they aren't portals, okay? And it seems like so only 2 people have it right now because the game just came out, and 1 day ago a person has 100% already.
Oh, nice.
So maybe not that hard. I don't know.
What did you pull up the scary game? I want to know about the scary game. I want to say Catherine, but that's not it.
Claire, we talked about it like a long time ago.
My apologies.
So I didn't pull it up. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I forgot or wasn't on that episode.
Attack on Titan, 26 bronze, 13 silver, 3 gold, 1 platinum. The interesting thing about this trophy list, you guys can go look at it if you want, but the interesting thing about this is not surprisingly shared along the platforms. Oh. So the Vita, the PS3, and the PS4 all have the same list. The final station, we were talking about before, 0 bronze, 10 silver, 0 gold. Take 3 passengers to emergency station A45. Take 6 passengers to Bristol. Take 6 passengers to the lab's bunker. Take 6 passengers to Metropole. Shoot a bird. Kill 10 enemies by throwing objects at them. Get through the metro station without using a medkit. Destroy 3 others by blah, blah, blah. So I think this game sounds really cool anyway. I don't know how it looks. 4-sided fantasy, 9 bronze, 0 silver, 2 gold. And you get basically most of your trophies for beating worlds and beating the new game plus, finding secret areas, etc., etc.
Do you have Bears Can't Drift?
Yep, Bears Can't Drift is right here. 8 bronze, 4 silver, 8 gold, 1 platinum.
Do you know why it has a platinum?
You.
Because, us. I'm constantly beating the drum on this. The developer is a fan. That's how we got it early, and that's how we did the Let's Play.
Great. That's fantastic. So activating all the modes, easy difficulty, medium difficulty, and hard difficulty. Poop Place is a trophy. You gave it your best, but it wasn't good enough.
Gross. This is the one that has that I Can See You trophy that got everything started on Reddit. Remember that?
Yep. Yeah. And finally, Batman from Telltale. The trophies already popped on PS4, but the PS3 trophies popped. That game was supposed to come out to the first episode was supposed to come out this weekend, and it was pushed back. And as we've discussed,
second episode, right? First episode's been out for a while.
It said it was the first episode for PS3 was supposed to come out.
My apologies.
as was the case with The Walking Dead, it does have a platinum, and it's all beating the chapters.
Yeah,
so
just beat
it's
the
going to be as long as you play them all, I assume it'll be an unavoidable platinum trophy.
Does seem like it.
And that is it for trophies.
Colin
Yes.
Buckner 513 wrote in to kindafunny.com/PSQ with the trophy time question. It says, "Hello, Greg and Colin.
Hello.
I hope all is well for the both of you. Here's a trophy-related question for you. You've talked a great deal about how you've played a plethora of horrible games over the years and the extraneous lengths you've gone to in order to increase your trophy level. While in this never-ending pursuit of pleasing the PlayStation gods, have either of you ever quote-unquote cheated in getting these trophies? Cheating would include doing anything that would cause you to get the trophy that you didn't rightfully earn as the game intended you to. These might include using the rubber band trick on your controller in Rocket League to get 500 kilometers without actually playing at all, or using a time/difficulty glitch in a game such as Uncharted 4, where you can bypass most of the game in the early days after initial release. I'm guilty of the former. I want to show as much support to the developers I love by getting the trophies they put up, but I never have enough time to play a game 9,000 times in order to get that stupid bronze trophy we all know is going to be a pain in the butt to get. Should we all have asterisks next to our profiles for being filthy cheaters? You guys are awesome. Thanks for all you do. Nathan from College Station, Texas."
I don't acknowledge the two examples he uses.
That is
cheating.
not cheating at all. That is not in no sense of the word is that cheating. IMO.
No, I don't think that's cheating either. So cheating would be, we've talked about this in the past, so I mean, forgive us, I mean, it's an old story. When Dead Rising 2 came out, we could go into the debug menu and actually just pop all the trophies. Like, it would just let you do it.
I was reviewing it. I stumbled upon that by clicking the sticks I got in the debug menu. Yeah, and I could set how many zombies I had killed. So the genocide trophy for killing 50-some thousand zombies, I was going to go home and pop. And on the way out, I said that to you, and you got so mad.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cheating.
That's what launched the Trophy Armistice, where there were rules now about trophy hunting and how we would and wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and I feel so. I don't feel like using the rubber band trick in Rocket League is cheating, and I don't feel. I mean, if the game lets you do it, like the Uncharted thing like they glanced over that when they were making the game, and then they fixed it. I think so.
Yeah.
I don't really look at that as cheating, because that would be like equivalent to like in BioShock. To get the platinum, you can't use the Vita Chamber. So if you die, you just shut the game off and turn it back on. Like, what's the difference? I just cheated.
Yeah.
I just totally, like, what am I supposed to be like? Oh, I died. Now I got to start all over again. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Like basically what was Dead Space 2, where you can only save 3 times. Yeah.
Right.
And it was like, once you died, if you hadn't saved, you're fucked. There's no way to get back
Right,
to
exactly.
it.
So I feel like his examples are not cheating, and I don't
think
feel
it's
like
cheating at all. No.
Because people are like, "Oh, use trophy guides and all that." I'm like, that's not cheating.
That's
like
also not
cheating
cheating,
is
yeah.
like really manipulating the game in some sort of unsavory way, like with the debug menu.
Yep.
Like if you can trick the game into giving you a trophy,
And
in
not
a
even
way
trick it,
that's
you're doing it. It's saying do it. It's not saying, the one for me was always Superman Returns on Xbox 360. There was a thing where you needed to fly and you just put it down and you rubber band it. And I think I did do it. And it was like, it's not cheating. It's not saying I have to do it this certain way. It's just do this somehow. And I think that's a stupid, lazy trophy to begin with. So whatever. What do I care? Colin,
yes.
let's check in with the listeners.
Okay. Hello, listeners.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, you can be a part of PS I Love You XOXO by going to kindafunny.com/PSQ and posting your question on the forums, just like Jake did. Hey guys, hope all is well. I played Inside this week, and while I enjoyed it, I am slightly disappointed that it was pretty much an upgraded, flashier Limbo. I wasn't expecting Playdead to depart from what made Limbo great, but I figured there would be at least additional core mechanics. Can you guys speak on studio progression and the line developers walk when trying to create a new game that stays true to what made their previous title successful, but also expands on it without going too far? Are there examples of these iterative successes or failures that stick out to you, and what studios do you think do a good job at this? Thank you so much, Jake.
I mean, they delivered what they're known for. I don't necessarily know that there's anything wrong with making your game. So I mean, we got another game with a little boy and some fucking weird ass situation. I mean, I don't necessarily think that's something
to begrudge them.
Why do you have to change just to change? Like I even in style, I mean, Naughty Dog makes third-person action shooters, basically, right? Like, that's what they make. They didn't always make that, but that's what they make. So I think you do what you know. I agree that Limbo and Inside don't seem to be that far apart from each other, but I don't necessarily think that's
But my thing is with Inside is that I think Inside is such a marked improvement on the mechanics of Limbo. How smooth it looks, how good it looks, how crisp it looks, the animations of it, and even the feel of it feels better to me than Limbo. Limbo always felt a bit stiff and heavy, whereas for Inside, as much as I didn't like the ending necessarily, I loved that ride. I enjoyed that experience. I liked the puzzles. I felt like they learned a lot from. Limbo was a game where I was head into the wall over, like, what the fuck? How do I get over here? Fuck. And like when I walked by and watched you play it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this part. And I got not stuck here like for hours, but I did stop for a second, like, what am I supposed to do? How do I figure it out? This is the market improvement and not the giant leap, but the step in the right direction. Hey, it is them learning from what they did with Limbo, making a better game, I feel.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I said, I'm interested in people. It's very well received. I do think the hyperbole about it being the best game of the year is a little much, but
sure.
I haven't beaten it yet. Maybe I'll feel very differently
I'm super interested to hear your ending.
But I mean, I don't know that it's that good. But I also felt like Limbo wasn't nearly as good as everyone thought it was too. So maybe it's something that's just lost on me. I like Limbo and I like Inside, so I think they're great.
Yeah. What about examples of going the right way or wrong way with iteration? You got any off the top of your head? I think because for me, the first one that jumps out is in both good and bad Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
In Sucker Punch, that Infamous 1 was so good, Infamous 2 was really good, and then Second Son came along and visually, the technology they're using, the way things look, awesome. And then it was this thing like I always talk about of like the weird come graffiti here arrow to the ground that like breaks you out of this incredibly real world Seattle.
Yeah, Sucker Punch came to mind. Sony Santa Monica comes to mind too with God of War, with Ascension, specifically where they kind of felt like I felt like it's a good example of a studio that felt like they had to do something to change things when that's not what God of War fans really wanted to begin with. But now, I mean, to be fair, they are changing God of War and it seems like people want it. So, and I mean that with the new God of War. So, it can go both ways. I think that like sometimes, we talk about Mega Man a lot of, I've been going back a lot to the Legacy Collection, playing through the really difficult challenges and which are fucking like so tough. And like, you don't change what a good thing here. This is great. But change is necessary sometimes, and sometimes it's not. I think we're talking about the market before with the journalism conversation. I think the same thing with this. Like if Playdead's third game is about a boy solving puzzles in some weird fucking place, then we're gonna be like, all right, like
we know what you want.
We get it now.
We know who you were, and we let you off.
But I also think that they're not. Yeah, like Dennis Green.
You got
R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
So anyway,
Colin, you mentioned Game of the Year, so let's check in with King Trenty McTeddykins. Hey, Colin and Greg. Since the end of the year is only a couple months away, what is your guys' Game of the Year so far, and what is your biggest disappointment of the year so far? What do you guys think will be the main contender for the Game of the Year over at most people and outlets? Already released and to be released, he puts in. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Keep up the good work. Big old the emoji that's like this, like the capital D in the eyes. Tell Colin I always sign off my questions with his favorite emoticon. And I don't think that's your favorite emoticon. Is it?
Yeah, it is.
You don't use that one though.
I use the like the ASCII version of it.
Yeah, exactly. I
don't use emojis. What? Because I ain't a clown.
Well, no, that's an emoticon, right?
That's an emoticon. Yeah. I love that. That's my favorite one.
You do use it.
It's a psychotic, like kind of.
He's just so happy.
I don't know if he's happy. I don't know what he is.
Or if it's a he altogether.
Uncharted 4 is the best game of the year. I don't.
Agreed.
I think that there's going to be some competition from. I mean, I don't think it's going to be competition because I think it's going to win. But Ratchet is certainly up there.
Do you think outlets? You think IGN and GameSpot they're going to give it to Uncharted 4? Because I feel like
without us, they're probably not. But I think that.
What are the contenders that you think are on this list with them?
Inside.
Yeah.
I mean, let me look.
You figure yet to come, right? We have Inside, we have Uncharted. You figure there's going to be South Park. There's going to be what is it? I mean, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Tomb Raider, but that's too late, obviously.
All right, so I'm looking like Doom.
Yeah, Doom is actually going to get some positive buzz. You love Doom.
Overwatch, Dark Souls 3, XCOM 2, The Witness.
Witness is a great one. That's a really good one, actually.
Let's see.
That's definitely going to get love.
I'm looking at other games. I mean,
sure.
I don't know.
What are some of the PC dorks playing?
I mean, we already brought up, let's see, XCOM.
Yeah, I saw. I know. We thought it didn't live up to expectations, but Firewatch is going to come up on this.
Stardew Valley, maybe.
Ooh, yeah. Is that was this year? Then yeah, that's definitely going to get something.
Gears comes out later. Yeah, Quantum Break already came out. Right. Mafia 3 maybe is going to be pretty good. Oxenfree's out. Civ 6 comes out. Dishonored 2. Watch Dogs 2, the Banner Saga 2.
I don't feel like there's that usual thing though where
Batman?
like remember last year? Oh, Telltale?
Mm-hmm.
No way. I mean, it's good.
I'm just telling you.
I know.
Throwing out games.
I just don't think. I think this is what's interesting about this year. Is there aren't runaway. Last year I was like, Witcher's going to win a whole bunch, right? And then I was like, oh no, but what about Metal Gear? And then I was like, oh no, what about this? Like Rocket League. There were these games that you're like, these are runaway successes. Where I feel like Uncharted 4 is the pedestrian answer, but I do feel like that's the one that for me is clear and far and away. But Stardew Valley, I do know people love, even though I haven't given it the time of day really. So I guess we'll have to see.
Well, maybe give it the time of day when it comes to Vita.
Damn right. And what was your biggest disappointment of the year, you think?
I mean, let me look at my trophies real quick because I feel like the answer will be there.
Answer's always in the trophies.
Abzu, definitely one of them.
One of your biggest sale, you think?
I mean, I didn't have any expectations, but I was like, what? When I played, I just was like, let's see. Oh, Mighty Number 9, of course.
Oh, right. Yeah, you hated that game.
Game fucking sucks. So yeah, I think that's certainly one of them. Firewatch, another one that was massively disappointing.
But it's one of those where Firewatch disappointed us. But I think you're going to see that on people's Game of the Year lists.
I
hear you. You're bringing up Final Fantasy. Of course, we're forgetting Final Fantasy 15. Wait.
Yeah, give it time, and Final Fantasy 15 will disappoint you.
If it even comes out this year.
As sure as the day is long. Listen, we talk about the games that you deserve, right? You're gonna get a game with a boy band in it.
That's what you
Steal
deserve.
yourselves. No, I think so. I think that probably it has to be. I mean, Firewatch was a huge disappointment to me. I couldn't believe.
I agree with that. I don't think it was huge for me.
The more I think about that game, the more I'm like, what the fuck?
It was for me. It was a missed opportunity. It was a disappointment, but I thought it was fine. That's the thing, and I expected more from it. Props
to them though, Campo Santos, for coming on the show though and talking very candidly about it. You don't get that very often. A lot of people gave me credit. They're like, wow, Colin's basically telling them to their face, like, what do you think of the game? And I'm like, well, what am I going to lie to them?
Do?
So I don't deserve any credit for that. I think that they deserve credit for exposing themselves to that. And I think that game was, we talked about this. I think you and I had way too high expectations for that game.
Yeah,
I think
based
we
on just
did it
being
to ourselves.
And
I also think the payoffs was didn't
that's
exist.
the whole problem with it is that when it's the ending that unravels for it. I enjoyed most of the journey, and then it was just like, what's happening? But I enjoyed it overall. I mean, I don't think it's a bad game. Have you gone? You were saying the more you think about it, the more you reflect on it, you like it even less.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's such a what a lost opportunity. The way the game begins is awesome. The idea is awesome. The setting, 1989, I think Wyoming or the fuck you're. Yeah, it's like this is fantastic. What a great idea you have, but no payoff. No payoff.
Yeah. Still gave us the best theme of all time though. I love that Firewatch PS4 theme. Just sit there and listen to that music, chill out. FMA15 wrote in to kindafunny.com/PSQ just like you can. It says, hello, Colin and Greg.
Hello.
I just realized something that may have been obvious for other people, but Persona 5 and Horizon are coming out in the same month. This is a serious problem for me since I already feel like I might not get as much time to play Persona 5 since it isn't on the Vita. According to Horizon, adding Horizon to the mix makes it even worse. So my question is this. Do you think having these two big games coming out so close to each other will hurt both in their sales? They are very different games, but they are both important games to the PlayStation community. Do you think it will be hard for you two to make time for both of them? P.S. I love you both, but no one can ever know.
No, I don't know that these two games existing next to each other matters, but it might for some people.
I'm one of the people that it does concern. It does work.
But you will play them both. I mean, that's the thing is that unless we all know Persona is going to review really well. Horizon, I think, is a mystery, but I've played Horizon extensively, and I'm telling you, it's going to be great. I'd be shocked if it's not a great game. That just means that you have to wait. That's all, or just like use your time wisely. Like Horizon. I don't know how long it is. I can't imagine it's going to be much longer than 20 hours maybe or something like that. So
you think so?
Yeah.
With them being open world and stuff, I was thinking maybe 40.
I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
It's taken a long time to develop. I just get a little cautionary when I talk about these open world games because I think our expectations get a little out of whack with them.
I'm thinking core story, 12 hours, 13, 14.
Oh, yeah, maybe a lot of grind work and stuff.
Blaze through it, right? But you have all these side quests. You want to unlock all these villages. You want to build your own robot dinosaur that you crawl in and then take into space. And then it turns out it's all in No Man's Sky. And this was at the center of the galaxy.
Persona is going to be very time consuming, and but I also think a critically acclaimed game. So does it matter? Maybe, but I also think that you just buy both. I think that those games are both pretty safe.
I hope so. I want them both to be very successful. Now let's jump on to a question, Colin, that's in a similar vein, but not the way you think maybe. But maybe it is. Now you're part of the show. Now the show's part of you. Very Super Jamos, who signs off as just James, says, hey, Colin and Greg.
Hey.
I really enjoyed Colin's...
Hey.
I really enjoyed Colin and Vince's discussion about how gamers are, on average, older. That conversation really resonated with me. I recently graduated college and started my first full-time job, and the inevitability of my dwindling free time is catching up to me. Games are my favorite way to experience a story and relax. I'm worried I will not have the time to fully experience games like I could in college, especially those that I have been waiting forever to play, parentheses Kingdom Hearts 3. My question is, do you think it is possible to maintain your passion for games even as you get older and your responsibilities in life increase?
Yes.
100% yes. Is it hard? Is it different? Yes. Colin, I can speak for Colin and myself on this one. We were young lads tearing up games, dedicating all your free time to games. We had so much free time. College, I remember being able to take naps. Go to class, come home, take a nap, play NCAA till 3 in the morning or whatever. Those days are behind you now as you get older. You'll still have the occasional experience, but you have to start picking and choosing, right? And it's been weird for me, I can speak to myself, I guess, in the way that, like, leaving IGN to start Kind of Funny, I thought I'd be playing so many more games, when in reality, Kind of Funny is so much more work, and there's every hour is spoken for in some respect, so it is now that it's like, cool, I'm going to play No Man's Sky tonight, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm really into this game. I'm going to play this game and not feel bad about the fact that I am missing a whole bunch of indies that have come along, a whole bunch of codes I'm getting. I haven't touched Deus Ex on my actual personal save, but it doesn't matter in the end, right? Because I'm still Greg Miller, and I love video games. They're still my preferred entertainment method. I just have to be picky and choosy about it. It's like same way of, like, I feel like I don't watch any TV, right? But I remember when I was back home, like in Chicago growing up, you watched so much TV, and I still played so many games. It was just that was what the swing of life was then, and that's not where I am now.
Yeah, I think that you have to just accept that times change, but also that I don't even really feel like you have to play games to have a passion for them. I think that, like, 100%. You can read about them and you can just, watch videos or think about, I mean, like, I know it's silly, but not everyone has time to play at all. Doesn't mean you don't have a passion, I don't think you want to necessarily reduce it like that.
Yeah, you can still have the passion, not be there. You have to get picky and choosy a little bit and figure out how you want to do and budget out times maybe, but it doesn't matter. Colin, I'm going to do 2 more questions. You get to pick the 2. You ready? Lego Dimensions, a new handheld, collector editions for multiple Uncharteds, Neo vs. Scorpio. Yeah, those are your ones. Pick 2 of those.
Handheld and Neo versus Scorpio.
Power Up Pat wrote into kindoffunny.com/PSQ and says, hello, Colin and Greg.
Hey.
With rumors circulating of Sony potentially announcing a new handheld at their September 7th event, I have a question that must be answered. What would it be like? This one's a 2-parter. First, what would a perfect Vita successor look like to you guys individually? What do you want out of the handheld? What features do you want? Second, practically, what is this new handheld most likely going to actually look like, i.e. features, design, games, etc.? Please disregard the practicality of Sony even actually releasing another handheld. Love the new studio, love you guys, and love everything you do. Thanks, Power Up Pat. I've talked about my Vita successor quite a bit, right? I want them to turn it around and focus on the Vita or the handheld platform the way they focus on PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 was perfect when they came out and talked about it. It's a machine for gamers. We're all about games. Here you go. Great. Do that again. Hey, Vita wasn't as successful as we wanted, but we found something with PlayStation 4, and that is that gamers like games. We're doing that again. We hope you're going to support us. Here's the Vita 2. It looks a lot like whatever you want to call it, the next generation handle. It looks a lot like the Vita. It has 2 shoulder buttons, so it's perfect for remote play. It has 2 sticks. It doesn't have touch on the front or back. That helps us bring the price down by this percent, and your battery life goes up by this percent. Sell me on it that way and have it somehow be better for remote play, better for interfacing with my PlayStation 4. Have it be that when I plug the fucker into charge with the PlayStation 4, it doesn't say this device is not supported by the PlayStation 4. Make this a real ecosystem where it's like, we've learned what you liked about the Vita, and the Vita, what you liked about Vita were games, and you like having real games on the go. We're giving you that again.
Yeah, I think its intimate relationship with PS4 is important, but I also think that, like, its backwards compatibility is important.
100%.
Obviously, it has to be backwards compatible with Vita. I think it wouldn't hurt to make it backwards compatible with PSP and have PS1 and PS2 classics on there. Why could you at the power in which the handheld is being played, could you not also make the PS3 games work on it? Yeah. I don't anticipate or think that it'd be possible to play PS4 games natively, but we have remote play on Vita, so I think that two triggers. Get rid of some of the accoutrements. The back, I think the front touch is fine. I think the back touch is unnecessary. Reduce
I think it's
cost.
fine, but do we need it? Especially if again, I guess I'm now intruding on your space. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that. But for me, in the message of gamers machine, it's a gamer device. Like touching helps us get the iOS ports, and I don't want that.
Yeah,
with the exception of Sunflowers too.
I don't know. I just don't think it's probably not very expensive, and I think it's additive. If anything, I don't think it does anything. I don't think it gives you more options. Even for mapping and stuff like that. So I think that it's, you and I just don't see eye to eye on that. I do not have a problem with there being a touch screen on the Vita. The back touchpad was dumb. When you really think back at that, I'm like, what are you thinking? Like, what the fuck was why? But because now you have to manufacture this thing forever with this on the back. But I think that it's an interesting point to be made that I still feel like a Vita successor is possible. And I know people think it's crazy.
You say 20% chance, right?
Yeah, I think that, I just feel like they're crazy enough to do it again, as I've said many times in the past. And I feel like now is the time to try again. I feel like this is what I was making, when I got into that conversation with Andrea about mobile gaming, which I was completely right about, that the one thing that we kind of glossed over, but what I think is an important point is that the market is just very different right now. Not for handhelds necessarily. I think the market's truncating, but rather that the PS4 is powerful on the market, and people are paying attention to the brand in a way that they weren't paying attention to it in 2011 and 2012. And so I think that even if you can double Vita sales to 25 million, that's a success. And I still don't know for sure that they even lost money on Vita. So I don't see why they would not necessarily try again. And the argument I made to Andrea, and then I will reiterate, is that like you can either just double down on PS4, which is smart, or you can why would you cede a hill to a competitor when you don't necessarily have to? Like, at least make them fight for it. You have the money and the capital and the goodwill to fight on that hill again. And you're not going to beat mobile phones, but here's some this is the point I was trying to make. There are 2.8 million smartphones in the world. 2.8 billion smartphones in the world. 2.8 billion. There are 650,000 games right now on the App Store. 650,000. 1% of the audience accounts for 58% of revenue. And only they're about at a fourth of total revenue comes from smartphone games. Last year, handheld gaming accounted for about 3%, with maybe 50 million units. So what I'm saying is that there's money to be made there with less of an investment and a better guarantee of success on the game-by-game level, because there aren't 650,000 fucking games on your platform. And there isn't an expectation that you're going to get things for free and all that kind of stuff. So I just think and I'll reiterate the point I made on the Neo or the Slim conversation reaction that we did on games, is that you're not going to make hand over fist money in that market, but it is a safe place for game developers to go as long as you nurture it. And as long as you make the comparison that no one is spending money on or wants to spend money on these games, otherwise they wouldn't be free. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the average cost when you take all apps, all games, everything, the average cost of an item on the App Store is 50 cents. And that includes games that are free or things that are free and things that are $100, right?
And that game that's like $5,000 that proves how rich you were.
Exactly. So to me, it's like there's an obvious route in here to make a niche and bolster it. And yeah, maybe 2 or 3% of gaming revenue is not that impressive when the PS4 is murdering and it's around 45 million units right now. But that's nothing to shy away from. There's money to be made there. Why people take a point in pride that mobile gaming accounts for a fourth of gaming revenue with 2.8 billion devices and 650,000 games is beyond me, because that's to me, that's actually embarrassing. There's no attach rate. There's no money being made there. There's people are fucking dying left, right, and center. The same people are making, I was reading really fascinating stuff where, because I've been doing research for a video I want to do about this, and we'll go way more in depth into it. With people just being that marketplace is a disaster. And it goes back to the GDC talk I went to with Drinkbox, where they're like, we would much rather put our games on Vita, at the time, than mobile, because people will find it.
Yeah.
So I just think that, is it easy? No. Is it smart? Maybe not. But I think that there's success to be found there. And I think all you have to do is look at mobile gaming, the dearth of companies that make a lot of money there, the same old shit going there, and then make a contrast and say, We're not that. We believe, and that doesn't have to be the so-called console quality gaming on the go like it was with Vita, right?
But we're making games for gamers.
Yeah, these are games, and you're going to pay for them.
Yeah,
and that's okay because they on iOS they believe so little in their games that they don't charge for them. They refuse to charge for them. They can't. If they charge even $1 or $2, they wouldn't make any money. We don't feel that way. We believe in this device, and yeah, we're not going to carve away 1 billion fucking gamers. We would like that. We would think we can do 25 million. I think that would be totally appropriate. I think that's a route to take, and I would not be surprised to see them take that route.
20%. Luke at me gets the final question of the week. He went to kindoffunny.com/PSQ just like you can, and says, "Hey guys, in the arguments of Neo versus Scorpio, I rarely ever see anyone talking about the price. With many speculating about a $400 price point for Neo, do you think we will see something closer to $500 or above for Scorpio? Thanks, Luke."
The word on Scorpio is that it sounds ridiculously expensive, but I think that
they got to bring it down though.
Yeah, I mean I heard numbers circulating like $700 and $800, and I'm like, there's just no way.
No, Microsoft's not that silly.
500 maybe. I don't know. It depends on how you market it.
This is definitely one of those things I think you'd have to eat it on, right? I think $100 difference between the Neo and Scorpio is too much. $50 sure, but then your marketing writes itself hopefully of this is a better step than that. This is so many teraflops. This is what you really need and what developers want. I don't know if you can go $100 over PlayStation 4.
I also think that one important component is that in a year's time in computing is everything. Like components are going to become far cheaper this time next year than they are now, based on what the Scorpio is speccing to, because the Scorpio doesn't exist. I mean, it's people know what all the stats are, but they don't. The machine doesn't exist, right? Or at least out of a prototype or an R&D form. So perhaps they're just waiting to see, and maybe it won't even come out next year. Maybe they'll wait and push to get the prices, the components as cheap as possible to at least break even. But it's all hypothetical right now. All we know about the Neo or about the Scorpio is it's what it's speccing to, and that it exists, and that they're aiming for next year. As I said on the Slim conversation on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, what I said was I still feel like this is their new console, and they're just not saying it. I know that they're saying things to the contrary. I just don't understand this quantum leap without making a new console, unless it's going to be truly iterative, in which case you call it just the Xbox. There's a lot of questions. The big X factor we just don't know right now is the Neo.
Yeah,
we're gonna find out soon. There'll be another show in between now and then, but then we'll do the reacts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course. We'll do the pre and post show. Post show will be posted as a PS I Love You XOXO on your podcast feed and youtube.com.
And on the last, it was prescient because on the last PS I Love You, I predicted that things would start leaking from the September event, and lo and behold, they did.
Colin was right.
And I do feel like I wouldn't be surprised if the Neo leaked before next year, before we do the next show, but we'll see. No, I don't think that. I think they're probably being. See, the problem is that the Slim's clearly going to be available when they announce it.
Yeah.
So they're manufactured, and the channel's already flooded. I still think that Neo's being manufactured, so I don't know that it's as likely. But now pictures of it are circulating, like people drawing pictures from Foxconn and shit like that. It's happening all over again. So. The amount of skepticism people showed, by the way, in that console was so funny to me, because I was like, this is so obviously real, and like why people think that this, like when the box
has been burned.
I remember one guy was like, can't you obviously that's this Photoshop? I'm like, no, honestly, I fucking can't, because it's clearly actually not Photoshopped. Lo and behold, that happened. So my hope is that we don't have to wait too much longer to talk about it. Hopefully we'll have something to talk about next week.
Colin, would you like to meet your newest best friend?
I have to.
This segment's called PS I Love This Best Friend XOXO. It's where one of you goes to kindoffunny.com/forums, posts your PSN name and a little message, and one of you then gets picked every show to get your name read. And then all the people watching or listening, they friend message you, and you get a whole bunch of friends, and you get a whole bunch of messages, and everybody says, kinda, and you respond funny, and then you play games maybe. This one is Emperor Klingzor. Stupid name. Emperor, all one word, because that's how you say emperor. And then the next word is Klingsor. All one word, Emperor Klingzor. Longtime listener. I'm a dad gamer in my 30s who doesn't have a lot of time to play online games. Still, I would like to have more friends on the network. And would like to shoot the shit about what games we're currently playing. I have every modern console, but I prefer Sony systems. I play my PS4 and Vita almost daily. Favorite games: Dark Souls series, Witcher, Elder Scrolls, Suikoden, Danganronpa, Persona series, Dragon Quest, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
So like all single player games. Got it.
Yeah, he just wants some friends. PSN, Emperor Klingzor. If this jives with you, send me a friend request. The best friend of the week doesn't have to be somebody who just wants to play Rocket League.
But it was just like,
Everybody hit up Colin too. Send him a bunch of messages.
Don't send me messages.
Everybody hit up Big Kev Dog. Send him a bunch of messages. Emperor Klingslers, PS I Love This Best Friend XOXO was brought to you by Indochino.com. That's Indochino. Now, Colin, you went away. You went to a wedding. While you were gone, these people, Indochino, sponsored us. What they did is they sent us out. They make suits, Colin. You get suits from these people. You go there, they measure you, they make the suit. It's a custom suit. I got a custom suit coming from these people, Colin. Can you believe it?
I mean, I believe it because you're telling me that. And I don't see any reason why you'd lie. So.
I wouldn't lie about the suit, yeah. Indochino is reinventing men's fashion, and a made-to-measure suit is the best suit you will ever own, so suit up. Get a one-of-a-kind made-to-measure suit. Customize the details you want. Pick your lining, lapels, personal monogram, and more. I have a personal monogram inside of my jacket. It says @GameOverGreggy. Are you fucking kidding me with this? This is the age we live in. Kevin, what'd you get in yours? Just yell it.
Kind of funny, Kevin. No, it says follow.
Follow @KindaFunnyKevin is his monogram, and he's getting married in it. That's an adult decision he's wearing to get married in. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't go wrong with the well-crafted 100% merino wool suit, I guess. Also, check out their made-to-order measure dress shirts and men's accessories. They have a money-back guarantee. So today, you can get any premium suit for just $3.99. That's up to 50% off at Indochino.com. Entering the XOXO at checkout. So that's Indochino.com, XOXO at checkout. And the shipping is free. There's no reason not to try your first custom-made suit. With a deal this good and a suit classic from their premium collection will look good, feel good, and last. Indochino.com, promo code XOXO. Any premium suit for just $3.99 and free shipping. And you can put your Twitter handle inside it, and you can get married in it, because that's what Kevin's doing, apparently. Kevin. Colin, would you like to know about this week's Forgotten PlayStation game?
Sure.
This one comes from NBZ, and I think you're going to like it. NBZ says, "Hey, Greg and Colin. My suggestion for this week's Forgotten PlayStation game is Rochard. It was an awesome gravity physics-based puzzle platformer that had cool space setting and a crisp, colorful art style. I recently rewatched Colin's review, and he gave it an admirable 8.5. Thanks, guys. Keep fucking that chicken.
I forgot about that game.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Rochard was a lot of fun.
Shit, I totally forgot about that.
John Rochard, or whatever his name is.
I forgot about that game. That
guy,
game,
Duke Nukem did the voice.
Yeah, Rochard, man. Holy shit. Yeah, I haven't thought about that game at all.
Yeah, Rochard's a fun game. So that's a really good one. Good job, NBZ. Everybody try Rochard.
Yeah,
it's cute. It's colorful. It's got a lot of style. Moving things around. Trying to take down the bad guys or taking over your space station. I remember that one.
Yeah, me too.
Time for this week's PSN's worst name of the week. This is where one of you goes to kindafunny.com/forums, posts your bad PSN name. This one I'm allowing it once. For a while, you were all sending in ones you saw. I wanted them personally, but then Annie wrote in. She says she's from Toronto, so she wouldn't lie to us. Toronto. Annie says, "Hello, Colin and Greg. Hope you guys are having a lovely afternoon or evening or whatever time of the day as you record this thing. I was unwinding with a few Overwatch matches on Sunday afternoon. My team was kicking ass, and I was doing a pretty good job clearing the path for my team as Tracer. I don't know what that means. It was the last 30 seconds of the match, and we were inches away from capturing our objective when out of nowhere, a sniper shot takes me out. Luckily, Diva, a tank, was behind me, and we still captured the objective. But what makes death inches away from victory more infuriating is being taken out by a Widowmaker named Anime-Tit-Lover. Anime Tit Lover killed Annie at the end there.
I feel like...
Have we had Anime Tit Lover pop up before?
I feel like where did I see this?
Are you Anime Tit Lover? You won't play multiplayer games under your name?
I did this. When could have I have done this, though?
Did you do one with Vince?
Yeah, maybe. Am I having a dream about Anime Tit Lover? Or did we
You
do
might
this?
be having Anime Tit. I don't know. I didn't watch the Vince episode.
I remember you saying...
Kevin says he...
It
Kevin's talking. He's saying
right.
Picked it off.
It started with the same little intro.
Kevin says Anime Tit Lover is him.
I mean,
if I'm listening to Kevin correctly, he
know.
says he's Anime Tit Lover.
I'm too tired to know what the hell's going on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been PS I Love You XOXO episode 50. Thank you for watching or listening. Remember, PS I Love You XOXO is a product of kindafunny.com. It is the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet, and it posts every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, rain or shine. So please go to kindafunny.com. Support both YouTube channels. Support all the other podcasts. Follow Kevin on Snapchat, because apparently that matters. And be good people to each other and play games. And make sure you tweet at Shuhei that you'd like to change your name one day. And of course, let Gio Corsi know that he should continue to support the PlayStation Vita. Then hit up John Drake and just tell him he smells. Just say that straight to his face. Every episode of PS I Love You XOXO ends in a song in a segment we call Singin' a Shoehei. This is where one of you talented motherfuckers goes to kindafunny.com/PSM, the M is for music, and gives me an MP3 for your song and a YouTube link for your song. It's a song you've created. You're in the band. You're not just picking the Gin Blossoms and telling me to listen to them because I know the Gin Blossoms are great. What I do then is take your MP3, put it at the end of our MP3, or take your YouTube video and annotate it at the end of our YouTube video. Today's song comes from Will Powell. Will Powell writes in and says, "Hello, Colin and Greg.
Hello.
Hello from the UK where I live now, oi. But I'm actually a transplant from the San Jose/San Francisco area. Been a listener for many years of Beyond and day one since Kinda Funny launched. Thank you very much. Thanks for your years of service to the craft. On to the topic at hand. I am the singer and multi-instrumentalist for the band A Rocket Complex. Similar to Rocket. We are a two-piece band, me and a drummer, based on the south coast of the UK, and we play...
Like Local H.
Like who?
Local H. Remember that band?
I remember the name, but give me some of their songs.
Bound to the Floor.
That
That
does sound familiar. That does sound
They're from
familiar.
Chicago, I think.
That would explain why I know them even more. Okay. And we play a happy combination of alternative and pop rock. So far, we've done mostly everything ourselves here at ARC. ARC. Do you know what that is? I don't know what that means. All right. From the writing, recording, artwork, and filming the music videos, all from our little home studio, and it's just the two of us, barring a little help with the mixing here and there. We've had a real get-up-and-go attitude with our work so far. And now, after years of efforts, the fruits of our labor are paying off. Our music video for our song, You Are Here, is out today and will be streamable when our new 4-track EP, A Wayward Constant, drops on September 23rd. The EP will be available on most online music stores to stream and purchase. The song is heavily themed around maps, travel, and movement, but has a deeper meaning underneath. In the music video, we carry around a You Are Here style giant map pin to lots of different locations, which the words on it change as the song goes along. We'd like to submit it for this thing. You'll definitely want to stick around for the EP. One of the other tracks from the EP is a song about sex, but written from American football terms and references. There you go, Col. You'll be able to understand sex. I think it's funny. Kinda. Winky emoticon. You can follow the band on the most social media at A Rocket Complex. A Rocket Complex. If you do end up liking the song and want to hear more, thanks for all you do for the PlayStation Nation and keep up the great work, Will. Long letter, Will, but I appreciate all the background. Ladies and gentlemen, this is A Rocket Complex with You Are Here. This has been our 50th episode. We thank you for the support. And until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.